Good day. I am Maria Paula Victoria P. Sanchez.
I am Nicolette Quinones.
And I am Clifford John Vison.
Today, we will deliver or share our personal reflection on the reading materials entitled The Displaced Person by Eric Frank Russell and The Last Judgment by Carol Capek.
Let us first tackle on what the story of the displaced person is about. The story of the displaced person is about this person having a conversation with a sophisticated man, talking or sharing his experience in a revolt or insurrection, and later on revealing his identity as Lucifer. In the story, we can say that Lucifer's beauty, wisdom, and might, which all the good things created to him by God, led him to pride. His pride led to his rebellion and fall. In conclusion, the story of the displaced person is all about Lucifer, who is leading a cosmic revolt against his creator to see who will be God. His strategy was to enlist mankind to join him by tempting them to succumb to the same choice that he made, to love themselves, become autonomous from God, and to defy him. On the other hand, the story The Last Judgment by Carol Capek is primarily focused on Ferdinand Kugler, the protagonist of the story, who committed almost 9 crimes. He was then brought upon a court of 3 judges and a witness to see if his path to the afterlife would be heaven or hell. During his court case, his witness, which is God, explained all his crimes to the judges. In the end, Kugler expected God to be his judge, but he didn't realize that God could not judge him because he knew everything. The judges then determined the verdict and sentenced him to a lifelong punishment in hell. These 2 reading materials is essential in our philosophical reflection because it teaches us or tells us how important critical thinking is and how we should be wise towards our actions, especially when we are making decisions that will surely impact our lives and may also affect others.
The second question to be answered is how will your understanding of the moral of the story affect your perspective about life and morality? So our understanding of the moral of the story affect our perspective about life and morality in a way that we should start to reflect thoroughly our decisions and critically analyze its impact in our life. So we should be wise and responsible in every action that we have to do and avoid the wrongdoing because it will surely affect our lives and may also hurt or affect others in a negative way. So we, as a human, have a free will and choice to whatever we wanted to do, but it is important to consider the consequences or result that we may face to what we have done. In addition, I have realized that man is not worthy of divine judgment. Man deserves to be judged only by other men. It is at once an epistemological solution and dramatic resolution. The reading materials remind us that even little good thing or bad things we have done are taken account by God. He knows everything, and with our little misdeeds, there is a certain thing that will be punished to us.
Third question to be answered is how are the reading materials reflective of the current socio-political landscape? The reading materials reflect the current socio-political landscape in a sense that there is equality when it comes to law. However, there are still individuals whom experience a wrongful judgment from the law itself. In addition to that, these reading materials also shows values and beliefs of a person and quality of life that have been experienced of an individual having the human rights. And that the society is rule-based, and when it becomes apparent, it will surely affect all aspects of life. And only man whose knowledge is relative and limited can judge. As God put it in the story, man belongs to man. Man isn't worthy of divine judgment. Man deserves to be judged only by other men. It is at the once at epistemological resolution and dramatic resolution. In this sense, a person can only be judged by another person, whether it may be related to political or social.
The next question to be answered is, which human rights can be observed in the story and how so? The human rights that can be observed in the story of the displaced person is the right to fair public hearing and freedom of opinion, and of formation or freedom of speech. It is because in this story we can see how this person and Lucifer share their thoughts, experiences, opinions, and also information, specifically when Lucifer shared his experience in the revolt. So they have both heard and are free to express and share their opinions. In addition, in the story, Lucifer had the choice or free will to do whatever he wanted to do. While in the story of the Last Judgment, the human rights can be observed is the right to equality before the law and right to recognition as a person before the law. Every individual are equally entitled in the law in the sense that there is equality in the terms of rights as people. In the story, Ferdinand Kogler have been judged and punished on what he had done. The victims are people killed by Ferdinand Kogler achieved the justice, since Kogler will spend eternity in hell.
The fifth question to be answered is what makes human rights an essential part of our lives? So human rights have the biggest role and essential part to the lives of every individual. Human rights are the standards that recognize and protect our dignity as a human being. It is the human rights that govern how an individual human being live in society and with each other. These human rights secure us by a set of principles concerned with equality and fairness.
And another thing that makes human rights an essential part of our lives is that these human rights connect us to each other through a shared set of rights and responsibilities. A person's ability to enjoy their human rights depends on other people respecting those rights. This means that human rights involve responsibility and duties towards other people and the community. Individuals have responsibility to ensure that they exercise their rights with consideration for the rights of others. For example, when someone uses the right to freedom of speech, they should do so without interfering with someone else's right to privacy.
The last question to be answered is why our human rights should be protected by our government. So our human rights should be protected by our government to ensure that people are able to enjoy their rights, and the government have a particular responsibility with regard to that matter. The governments are required to establish and maintain laws and services that enable people to enjoy a life in which their rights are respected and protected. For example, the right to education says that everyone is entitled to a good education. This means that governments have an obligation to provide good quality education facilities and services to their people. Whether or not government actually do this, it is generally accepted that this is the government's responsibility and people can call them to account if they fail to respect or protect their basic human rights. That is for today. Again, I am Nicole Quinones.
I am Maria Paula Victoria P. Sanchez.
And I am Clifford John Vison.
And we are from UMS A1. Thank you for listening.